What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing 3D printed axle bushings on the Jetta. So I took all the dimensions from the axle housing itself, printed them up kind of also based off of a couple of the aftermarkets. Got ourselves a 20 by 12 piece of stainless steel, so 20 mil outside, 12 mil inside. It's got about 90 mil long, which fits between the bushing mount on the chassis. So we're going to get the car jacked up, get the axle kind of hanging. I don't think I'm going to take the wheels off to do it this time. So we're going to hang it down and hopefully get those bushings out fairly quickly. So with it up on jack stands, we're going to do this a little different than what most people probably do. I've got it standed. I've got the jack on the center of the axle beam. And what we're going to do is knock out this bolt on either side, keep it on the jack stand, and pivot on the shock mounts, which are right here. So we're gonna let the weight off, keep it on the beam itself. The jack's gonna hold it. Take the bolts out at the front, and this is gonna pivot here. These are already hanging as low as they can go, so it's not a big deal. So what we'll do is, like I said, we're gonna hang it from this. Less to take apart. I mean, if you want, you can take your wheels and everything off to do it, but I've been able to do it like this a few times and it's worked out. Okay, big impact, 18 mil wrench on the other side, 12-inch extension, and you're able to do this without taking your wheels off. Nut off. Okay, so I ended up removing my wheel just so I can get better views. To get this down, I actually had to take the mounting plate off as my bolts were pointed inward, so it hit the fuel tank before I could actually get the bolt out of this. If it would actually... okay, so yeah, like I was saying, my bolt went towards the fuel tank, which you can see up there. So I had to take the 4 bolts out of the mounting plate, drop that, put it back in. I realigned it to where it was because there's witness marks. That'll keep your essentially wheelbase, because it'll affect your front to back and your toe. Well, I guess if you move one forward versus the other, that'll affect your entire axle toe. But also, if you could slide them both all the way to the back, that'll affect your wheelbase at the same time. And side to side affects how your bushings fit in here. But now we're down low. We're going to try to get this out. It looks like, judging by a little dent right here, somebody's already tried to take these out once before. So we're going to get some heat on it, some penetrating fluid, and try to hammer them out. Got it out. This one came easier now that I thought about it the right way, but you can see it's all coming apart on this side clearly coming apart on the other side. Just not good at all. So this should really help. This side's a plastic one, which is nice. Didn't get into the metal of the chassis, so I'm going to go through here with the deburr tool and take all the metal out of it, just all the rust from sitting around this thing, and we'll go from there. Nice and cleaned out again, ready to rock, putting the new one in. So like last time, I'm gonna set you up here. It's the best shot I can give you, so here we go. Lube the outside with a little bit of grease there. It'll help slide them in. It's also why I'll put some inside the axle housing here. It'll just help to make sure these can slide in. And we will be starting with the inside one. Okay, now a little super lube in the hole, and I'll install the pin. Okay, we have both in. Might not be able to see the other side from here, but both are in. You saw they're a little tight to get in. I made them a hair big. I mean, it is what it is. But now we will get these up into place, get everything back on, and put it on the ground. What I'll do with these is kind of do an update every now and again, and just, they're 3D printed, so we'll see how they go. I mean, they're solid plastic. There's no air in them, no nothing, so they should ride just like any other solid plastic one. But I mean, being 3D printed is different. I'll update on a regular basis how they're doing, if they're deteriorating or not, as they're kind of in a place that sees a lot of everything. So let's get this axle back up and the wheels back on, and I'll drive it around the block, see how it feels. Okay, so we're all bolted up, both sides. That side already has its wheel on. What I do suggest is leaving the big nut loose, getting your wheels on, put it on the ground, and then torque that if you can, or, you know, put a jack under both sides, jack up from underneath your rotor here, and make sure it's nice and tight before you put it down so that you don't wreck them anymore or preload them in any way. I'm going to do it on the ground. I think I have just enough room to get under there and put my wrench and socket and tighten those, but I'm going to get the wheel on, get it on the ground, and tighten these up. Okay, so with those installed, drives immensely better. I wish I had a way to mount this and kind of show you, but also I don't think you'd see it. Kind of more of a seat of your pants kind of feel. The car doesn't roll as much when I tip into corners and stuff like that. I've got a front coilover that I'm gotta fix, but I think I'm gonna show that because I'm going to take an old set of BCs and make them work in here. Kind of a little bit of a hack style because I know how to make them work. I've done this on my last one because I get stuff from random friends that don't want it anymore because they're just no good, or wreck yards. So this set of BCs, they're a front set. I got them off what was it, a G35 out of the wreck yard. I was gonna build them for this, but we're gonna go air on that. So now I got another set. I have nothing else to put it on. So I'm gonna make these fit that somehow. So come along for that ride. Hopefully the car drives way better after fixing a front coilover because it drives like absolute shit and it bangs the ever-loving life out of the strut tower because that coil is dead. But stick around here and I'll be back. Okay, so let's explain what's going on here. And I'm sure I'll have hate comments and I'm an idiot and this and that, but hear me out before we get too far and before you start typing out that I'm stupid. So this one here, this is my Bilstein. It is blown. Clearly you can see all that there. It blew out a hole in the bottom. These are inverted ones. These are, I think, the most expensive coilovers you could get for a Mark IV. I have no idea how long they've been on this car. I have no idea how old they are, but they arrived to me like this. This one actually had a broken spring, so I got a set of iBox, or actually I think they're Skunk 2s, not iBox. Yeah, Skunk 2s. Again, just laying around. I have an entire shelf down there of random coilover parts. So we'll get going with this crazy idea. So the Mark IV is a pinch strut. So this slides into a collar, you pinch it. E46s, E90s, lots of Volkswagens, and I'm sure vast majority of other cars are very similar. It doesn't have the 2-bolt, it has a pinch. So what we did here is, this pinch area is 50 mil, 49.75, call it 50 mil. These threads, this body, so it's a front McPherson, so it's got the thick shock on it, which means it's meant for a McPherson. It's meant to be single ball joint rotating up there. The thinner ones are for a dual A-arm, stuff like that, multi-link, where the weight, where you're not twisting on the car. But regardless of that, this body is 52 mil to the outside of these threads. That means there's a mil of thread that you can take out of there. So what I did was, we ground it right smooth to the very bottom of the threads. You can see as it slowly goes up where I made a small taper because I had to get far enough up. I think it actually just needed to stop about here. So the structure of the body has not changed, and even if it did slightly, it's going to go in. We'll walk over to the car. It's going to go in this collar, squeezing it. So there's no risk of a failure of this wall, and it's not going to fail because it is still 2.5 mil thick on the wall. And for anybody going, but it can't live on the shock tube, you have to remember, here's the other one to it, that this lives on those threads, and then this gets mounted to the car. This is from the X5. And I was wrong, this isn't the G70 or G35 struts. These are actually out of an E70 X5, which, as you can see here, I actually modified these to fit my E53 X5. Everything was similar other than, again, it was a pinch style instead of a bolt style. So I welded the bottom on, made it bolted. These did 150,000 kilometers before I tore the car apart. So I know they're good, and I know my welds are good. But, again, with the rambling, these will go in. They're going to work perfectly fine. What I am getting out of this is you can see where the bolt mounts are, how much lower this is. The problem here is when these springs were on, that's where it sat unloaded. Look how much that actually has to come down, which we put that on. Let's not put that piece actually. We'll just do this piece. So that's where that sat. So look, I've got 3 inches of space that it comes down before it touches, and then it sinks whatever it needs. So I end up with like an inch and a half worth of shock travel, which, I mean, is that the worst? No, I've seen worse. I've seen cars with no shock travel. It is what it is. It's how you want to drive. But, so with my spring perch met at the same spot, because these are level there, our spring, I can't actually put the spring on fully because I only get like 4 threads, which, not the worst case scenario. But that means I can weight up the car, and this might make the car an inch lower, which I'm okay with. I'm perfectly fine with. But I'm going to have the whole 6 inches of shock travel, if not a little bit less, which is nice for going, you know, driving down the road. It can actually absorb the bumps. So, you can see, I've already done it. I test fitted it over there. It fits. So I'm going to build these up. We're going to stuff them in. I might actually take this collar, spin it down, and lock it on the top of there, just so it's locked in. It's absolutely not needed, but I don't want to take these ones off to get that one off, so I'll slide that down to there. And we're going to get to installing these and then do the exact same thing to that side. I just have to release it from the shock body, which it's a little, or from the shock mount, it's a little stuck. It is what it is. And I'm going to have a bump stop again because I never had bump stops on the last one, or I'm not even sure. They must be in here because they're inverted. But now we've got new coilovers in the front. I've been meaning to do this. I'm surprised that top hat hasn't come through my fucking roof or my hood yet, because any bump, it bangs. This should be so much better. So stick around for a few minutes. I'll get it all put in the car and I'll show you it installed. And then, like I said, get on to that side. Okay, so we're in. Let me step back. This is where the wheel currently lives. Center, height, and all that in the wheel well. You can see our BC coil tightened up, pinched in there nicely. Skunk springs. Those are 7K. Honestly think I might need a little heavier. That cast iron diesel takes a bit. But if we go over here to where the other side hangs, that side, that's full droop over there. So I'll get the wheel on and we'll look at the full droop difference from left to right, which means the car's gonna ride a little different, I guess, but we'll see how bad it is, because it should fill the same wheel height as far as I know. So it essentially sits at the same ride height it did with the wheel in the air. So there we are. Hopefully when we put it on the ground it sinks just a little bit. But this will do until I want to buy a set of actual coilovers again. So we're gonna do that. But look at the wheel gap difference. I can stick my whole phone essentially in that gap. So let's get this side done, put it on the ground, and see how it drives. Okay, after a little bit of work, this side is matching that side. So now we're gonna get the jack under it, put it down on the ground, and see how low it actually is. So it looks like we didn't gain any more lows, which is promising, but that means we have full use of our shock travel now. I know a bit of an odd video. Jetta always needs some kind of work, so we gotta stop and do that while waiting on the E36 content, but we should be back to this soon. The 3D printed bushings, I will have a link in the description and a link to, I guess I can't really link to where to find the bar. I did find some on AliExpress. I mean, it's stainless steel bar. How bad could it be? It's 20 by 12 mil. I'll put the dimensions in the description again as well, just so that they're there. The hosting for the bushings will be, I think it's Cults 3D or 3D Cults, one of the two names there, but again, in the description. Like 10 bucks, you can buy that. If you already own a 3D printer, this is a really good thing to do, because like if you've watched all the videos, you saw I did the transmission mount and the dog bone on this. That same spool also did the two black ones. I would have had a third, I think. I could have gotten a third, but I had a fail in the print. So I had to order another spool because what's left is not enough to even continue. But that's a $24 Canadian spool of TPU, a $10 file. You already own a printer, so you're golden there. And I think I paid 15 bucks for that piece of stainless steel for the bushing. You're sub 50 bucks for poly bushings back there. You could make them for everything. I'm gonna keep making different ones for this car, uploading them. The E36 will be the same. I'm gonna 3D print bushings on that one and upload those as well, because I have the ability to, so why not do it? And they're cheap. The Jetta is gonna show me how well they handle. Like, the engine ones have gone now through a winter. These ones, it's now July. They're gonna go until either they give up or I give up on the car, whichever happens first, which I'm not gonna give up on this car. So they'll probably come out when the big rebuild of this car happens, which is after the 36, obviously. So that'll be down the road. But I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more content, and we'll see you in the next one.